Push P. Yeah, push P. Turn me up. Turn me up, P. Corners in the paddock, get my piece. Push P. Cop new hammers for my beat. We don't want
Now you say after me, in my mother's house there is still God. In my mother's house there is still God.
In my mother's house there's still God.
Hello to my beautiful kings and queens of YouTube. This is Cree and welcome to my very special Black History episode. And if no one has told you today, I truly do appreciate you. I do. So, some months back, I was perusing around on YouTube, minding my business, not bothering no damn body. And I came across a live stream of a fellow YouTuber that I follow by the name of DeAndre Dobbs, with his channel called DeAndre Dobbs The Show, or DDTS. Shout out to you, nephew. I kind of adopted him as my little YouTube nephew and everything. So shout out to you, babe. But when I came in on the stream, they were discussing James Earl Jones and Frankie Beverly, because this was around the time that we had just lost both of them. So we're probably looking at around maybe early to mid-September when all of this happened. Now, when I came into the live stream, they were discussing James Earl Jones and the role that he played when he played the character Roop in the 1974 movie Claudine. Claudine with James Earl Jones and Diane Carroll. And so while they were having this discussion, DeAndre did kind of say something that kind of stuck out to me a little bit. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something along the lines of that he was surprised that Diane Carroll was even cast for that role, because that just doesn't seem like a role that Diane Carroll would particularly play. Because, when you think of Diane Carroll, you think of what? You're thinking classy, elegant, very debonair, very, Dominique Devereaux. Shout out to my Dynasty fans out there. And, a lot of people in the chat agreed with him on that. And this is where I started to chime in, because I actually knew the story on how Diane Carroll got that role. So I explained the backstory to everybody, and everybody was just like, wow, I had no idea. I'm completely shocked. I'm blown away and everything. And I was actually quite surprised by that, by how many people didn't know that story, nor did they know the woman responsible for Diane Carroll getting that role. And that is who we are going to talk about today. So for Black History Month, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Diana Sands. So, Cree, who is Diana Sands, you ask? Well, Diana Sands was a singer, a dancer, and an actress. Actually, a Broadway actress. She actually started off on Broadway before she made her way to film. She may most widely be recognized for her role as Benicia Younger in the critically acclaimed A Raisin in the Sun. She got her start on Broadway before she made her way to TV and film. And I wanted to dedicate this episode to her because I do believe that she deserves her flowers. She definitely deserves her flowers, as she did not get a chance to really receive them when she was still here. She came up in that golden age of Black Hollywood, during the 50s and 60s. When you think of the actresses that was big during that time, who do you think of? You think of Diane Carroll. You think of Cicely Tyson or Ruby Dee or Pearl Bailey, Dorothy Dandridge. I mean, you think of all these people, but it's unfortunate that Diana Sands is never named among those on that list. And I believe if she had stuck around just a little while longer, her name would have been right up along with those other names that I mentioned. So before I get into what happened with Claudine, let's just get into a little bit of history about Miss Sands. So Diana Sands was born Diana Patricia Sands on August 22nd, 1934 in New York City in the Bronx. She was one of 3 children born to Rudolph and Shirley Sands. In 1949, she attended Music and Art High School, which is now known as LaGuardia High School. It was during her time at LaGuardia when she met and befriended a fellow classmate by the name of Carol Diane Johnson, whom we have all come to know and love later on in life as Diane Carroll. It's also said that she was going to school with Billy D. Williams, and Billy D. Williams was also at LaGuardia around this time as well. It was also during her time in high school where she started to take theater very seriously and where she actually started to hone her craft as being a serious theater actress. Shortly after high school, she started her career as a professional dancer, touring with some type of a traveling carnival. But even during that time as a dancer, she still found ways to keep her acting skills sharp by, performing in plays and various theater productions around the city, which eventually paid off because in 1959 is when she landed her big role as Benethia Younger in the Broadway production of A Raisin in the Sun. I keep saying Benethia, but it's Benetha Younger in A Raisin in the Sun, of course. My apologies on that. And 2 years later, in 1961, when they decided to do the film adaptation of it, she was cast in that as well, playing the same character, Benetha Younger. Her role in both adaptations of Raisin in the Sun, it definitely caught the attention of both critics and audiences alike. Her portrayal of Benetha was praised for its depth and its authenticity, and she became one of the first Black actresses to have a big major role in a Hollywood production back then. That was big. So from that point, her resume just got bigger. In 1964, she starred in the first production of James Baldwin's Blues for Mr. Charlie, a powerful drama that dealt with racial violence and prejudice. And her performance was definitely celebrated as the highlight of the play. She also starred in another Broadway play in that same year called The Owl and the Pussycat, opposite Alan Alda. If you know Alan Alda, you know him from MASH. Now, fun fact about the role that she played in The Owl and the Pussycat is when she was cast in that role, I believe that originally the character I believe was written for a white woman. But the producer of the play remembered her from A Raisin in the Sun and thought that her performance in that was so breathtaking that he decided to cast her for this role without any regard to her color, which in 1964 was a very big deal because everything was still centered around race, and especially for The Owl and the Pussycat being a romantic comedy, the role that she played was for a white woman, and in this play, she's with a white man. So yeah, it absolutely was a big deal back then. But she did so good that nobody even cared. Nobody cared what color she was. And she did so good that when the play got moved to London, she went and did it there. But the crazy thing is when The Owl and the Pussycat was made into a film later on, I want to say it was around maybe 1970, then instead of giving her that role, they gave it to Barbra Streisand. Yeah, I guess that's how showbiz works sometimes, right? I mean, it's not that much different from now. Roles for Black actresses back then are just as scarce, but just as scarce back then as they are now. So in addition to her theater work, on and off Broadway. She also made some very notable TV guest appearances. A few of those TV appearances, let's see, there's one where she starred in an episode of a short-lived series that came on in the early 60s called East Side, West Side, where she played opposite to James Earl Jones. She played a barmaid that was married to James Earl Jones's character, and they were parents of a baby girl. And they were living in a rundown tenement in New York City. So with this particular series, I know it touched on a lot of serious social issues that was going on back in those in the times in the early 60s. And they both guest starred and played in one episode of that. I guess with each series, there was different people, different type of topics and issues that was going on that. Also in the early 60s, she guest starred on an episode of I Spy, where she played Dr. Albert, who was a potential love interest for Bill Cosby's character, Scotty, if you can picture that. And she also guest starred on a few episodes of the television show Julia, starring Diane Carroll, and she played Diane Carroll's cousin, Sarah Porter. Ironically, her getting cast as that role on this show was partially how Diane Carroll was to later on down the line to be cast in the role as Claudine. And once again, I will get to that story here in just a minute. She's also starred in several movies in the 60s and 70s. In the early 1970s, she founded a production company called Third World Cinema. And the idea of the company was to develop film projects and to also train Black actors and performers in basically all aspects of film production. Through this company, she was able to produce several films that she starred in herself. One of the first movies that she produced through Third World was a movie called Georgia, Georgia, which was a screenplay written by Maya Angelou. She also starred in a movie called Honey Baby, which was a sort of a blaxploitation film that she was starring opposite Calvin Lockhart, who was also a fellow veteran actor who I believe passed away real recently. Another movie that she produced during that time was a very controversial role that she played. It's a movie called The Landlord. She starred opposite Beau Bridges, and then there was also some notable appearances in the movie from Pearl Bailey and Lou Gossett Jr. And she played a woman that was married to a Black revolutionist who had sort of an affair with her white landlord and got pregnant by him. Now, I haven't watched that movie yet, but after I'm done with this, I definitely will go watch it because I need to see what's going on with that one. One of her last roles that she did, which is the role that I came to know her from, is when she played the role of Cora in a blaxploitation classic, Willie Dynamite. Now, her character Cora plays an ex-prostitute turned social worker who helps to try to save current prostitutes to get them out the game and have them to live a normal life, to get them out the business. So, of course, that made her the main character, Willie Dynamite's arch nemesis. And I don't know if any of y'all seen Willie Dynamite, but you know, Willie Dynamite is played by Roscoe Ordman, aka Gordon from Sesame Street. I know all of us Sesame Street people know who Gordon is, but child, if you ain't never seen him in Willie Dynamite, my lord, that man was fine, y'all. And like I said, unfortunately, that was one of her last film roles that she completed. So here is where we are with Claudine. So, shortly after filming for Willie Dynamite Wrapped is when she went right into work on Claudine. Now, Claudine, as I mentioned earlier, was one of the movies from her production, Third World Cinema. and she was the original actress to play Claudine. And she had been working on this movie for quite a while, so Claudine was kind of her baby, right? But unfortunately, a week into filming, something was very wrong. James Earl Jones has even said that during filming, she did not look well. When they got to filming one of the love scenes, that she looked like she was in pain, great pain. And not too long thereafter, she collapsed on set. She was rushed to the local hospital. They performed surgery on her, and then that's when they discovered that she had pancreatic cancer. It got in her very rapidly. It was very aggressive, and she unfortunately did not have very much time to live. She knew she wasn't going to be able to continue, but she did not want to stop production. So she suggested that they get her dear friend, Diane Carroll, to play Claudine. And see, I told you just a few minutes ago that this tied in with her playing on Julia. When Julia was on the air and they were looking for people to play Julia's cousin, she made the suggestion to cast Diana Sands, and the producer said no, they didn't want her because she was too much of a serious actress, because she played in Broadway, she played in Shakespeare, she was a for real thespian, and so they thought that her playing Julia's cousin on a TV show would have been too beneath her in a sense. But she fought hard to get her friend that spot. And so in return, Diana Sands said, hey, when it's my time to pay you back, I got you. Don't worry about it, man. I got you. So she kept her word. When she knew that she was no longer able to play Claudine, she suggested her friend. And of course, the movie producers was like, hell to the no. And not Diane Carroll. She classy, she elegant. This character for a poor broke welfare mama, she can't play that. They actually tried to get other actresses to get that role instead of Diane Carroll. Matter of fact, I believe they even tried to get Cicely Tyson to play Claudine, but Cicely Tyson already knew the deal. She was like, no, let the homie get that. I gotta realize them Black Hollywood circles were small back then. People talk, so everybody already knew what was going on and what the deal was, and so they knew Diana wanted her friend to get that role, and so everybody was supportive of that. Diane said she knew her friend was sick, but she just didn't know how sick. She didn't know that she was dying. Matter of fact, nobody knew she was dying. Diana knew, though. It's actually been said that Diana possibly known that she was sick back when she was filming Honey Baby back in 1972. The filming for Claudine started in late August of 1973. So it's been said that she's known for a while and just didn't tell anybody. And it sounded to me like she pulled a Chadwick Boseman, or should I say Chadwick Boseman pulled a Diana Sands. They knew they was sick, and they was getting treatment and stuff like that behind the scenes and didn't tell nobody. And by the time the rest of the world found out, it was too late.
Claudine was a very traumatic time for me because my friend Diana Sands was to play Claudine, and she became ill, and they were trying to find someone to replace her. She insisted that they send for me. Now I'm leaving this coast going that way to New York because I was here at that time, and they said, no, it's not going to work. There's no way. We don't want to see, but it's friendship. She had the opportunity to do for me what I had done for her during Julia. I did not realize that she was dying, but I knew she was very ill. So I flew in, and the director said to me, everyone is against this. You're being cast in this role. I can't get it clear to you guys. I'm an actress. Diana is an actress. Diana, they didn't want Diana on Julia. You don't want me on Claudine. Would you please let us do? I mean, and then you break your asses trying to find something new for the big white movie star that is on the highest on the agenda at that moment. Oh, she just played the prostitute. Let's let her play the nun. But if I tell you that I am not only capable of playing one role, you don't want to hear that. I pride myself on being able to do something other than one thing. I'm not just the judge or the wonderful woman in the neighborhood who's raising all the lovely children. I can give me a chance, you know. Just give me the opportunity to show you that I do understand. Why wouldn't I understand welfare children and mothers? I was raised in a community that had welfare children and mothers. Please.
Unfortunately, Diana Sands died of leiomyosarcoma on September 21st of 1973. She was 39 years old. Man, she had a very short career, but she accomplished so much in that short amount of time that she was here. She was able to break down those barriers that so many other actors before her tried to do and was unsuccessful. Her life was marked by resilience and determination, and she didn't let the fact that she was a Black woman stop her from doing the things that she set out to do. If she hadn't left this earth when she did, who knows how far her career would have gone. Claudine was supposed to have been that movie that put her on the map. Diahann Carroll took that role and killed it, and it garnered her one and only Academy Award nomination. So there's no telling what that would have done for Diana Sands if she had taken that role. So when we think of old school Black actresses like your Diahann Carrolls, your Cicely Tysons, your Dorothy Dandridges, your Pearl Baileys, your Lena Hornes, your Ruby Dees, we have to make sure that we put Diana Sands on that list as well, because she was absolutely deserving of it.
Who are some of your inspirations as an actress coming up?
A woman named Diana Sands. A lot of people don't know her. Rosalind Ash. These are the people. Diahann Carroll, the late great Diahann Carroll. Yes. I wanted to be like them, a great actress, and I was going to be in terms of a drama. Then I just happened to be funny. I got 227. I was so mad. I was so mad. Oh God, because I was going to be a serious actress and win Tonys and win Oscars and be all that and be powerful, and then I just happened to be funny. And then
Miss Sands, you were truly an innovator, a go-getter, a risk taker, a scene stealer, and an all-out star. And I hope that you are continuing to rest in peace. Well, that is all I got for y'all on today. Thank you all for sitting in for my very special Black History episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something, okay? But anyway, if you have made it this far, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see y'all in the next video. Again, rest in peace to Miss Diana Patricia Sands. My name is Cree Cree. Y'all be easy.